Close to 50 Shia Muslims are feared killed in Pakistan's troubled Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in a multiple ambush laid by suspected Sunni Tehreek Taliban Pakistan terrorists in the Parachinar area. The terrorists are reported to have hit a 100-vehicle convoy at least 3 different locations along the 200-kilometer plus Parachinar Peshawar road. In another terror incident, a vehicle-borne IED, a VBIED, crashed into a military camp in Bannu, killing at least 12 soldiers. There are reports that at least some soldiers were beheaded. According to Pakistan Institute of Conflict and Security Studies, 254 people, including 54 security forces personnel, have been killed in the month of August alone, and more than 1,051 people have been killed in Pakistan so far this year alone. Shocking images of terrorists hiding behind trees, opening indiscriminate fire at a convoy of vehicles travelling from Parachinar to Peshawar in Pakistan's strife-torn Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province has shaken the country to the core. 50 Shia Muslims, including several women and children, are feared killed in this terrible sectarian terror strike in Pakistan. According to eyewitnesses, the convoy of close to 100 vehicles was ambushed not once but multiple times at different locations, and the death toll is sadly expected to rise.
इमरजेंसी में 38 लोग शहीद हो चुके हैं। अभी केपी के गवर्नमेंट से हमें 15 प्लाटून की एफसीएन की रिक्वेस्ट आई है, तो कोई ना कोई चीज चल रही होती है, उसके हवाले से राब्ता रहता है। लेकिन ये नहीं है कि हम उनको छोड़ दें। वो हमारा सूबा है, हमारा मुल्क है, और हमें जहां-जहां पे जो उनको हेल्प कर सकते हैं वो हम करेंगे इंशाल्लाह ताला।
The 250-kilometer long road connecting Parachinar to Peshawar had remained shut due to the Shia-Sunni violence for years and had recently reopened. Vehicles were only permitted to move in convoys with a police vehicle in front and another in rear escorting the convoy. But the terrorists laid an effective ambush at multiple locations, targeting the police vehicles both in front and the rear end of the convoy.
He had no sin. He was a very innocent and noble man. He was only 40 years old and left behind small kids who have no support after his death. Now we are worried about his family and what we can do for them.
As vehicles sped down the highway, more terrorists waited some distance away and the convoy was hit again. Those who managed to break out of the ambush were hit by the third ambush down the road, and the killing spree lasted more than 40 minutes before terrorists melted away into the night.
Today is one of the saddest incidents in the history of the Kurram area. In the presence of government protocol, our convoy has been attacked and more than 40 people from our country have been martyred, including children and women. It's a matter of shame for the government, and government is lazy.
This isn't an isolated incident in Pakistan. In the Bannu area, a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device rammed into the perimeter wall of a military camp and terrorists rushed in, killing at least 12 soldiers and injuring several others. According to local media reports, terrorists even beheaded some soldiers, carrying their heads with them. According to Pakistani media reports, more than 50 soldiers have been killed in the month of November alone in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan provinces of Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today. The images from Parachinar, the images from Bannu, they're truly horrifying. This cancer of terror seems to be eating Pakistan from within. There have been killings in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there have been killings in Balochistan in recent weeks and months, and according to reports from Pakistan, 1,051 people, including 562 from security forces, have been killed this year. And it's just November, another month to go. Has this cancer of terror eaten Pakistan from within? there's religious terror, there's sectarian terror, and now there's a political showdown that's looming large with Imran Khan supporters threatening to take to the streets from the 24th of November. So what's happening in Pakistan? Joining me on this special broadcast is Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, former Director General of Military Operations. He's a former paratrooper, also Air Marshal Riazuddin Sheikh, who's an analyst who joins us from Karachi in Pakistan. Munir Memon is a Pakistani analyst who joins us on this broadcast. But Air Marshal Sheikh, sir, this violence in Parachinar, the multiple ambushes, is this a failure of security forces on ground, or is it a larger failure of the political military establishment in Pakistan in your appreciation, Air Marshal?
Thank you very much for having me on your show, Gaurav. And I'm sure you and the General Saab there, Bannu, must be knowing each other since you've been doing some paragraphs yourself. I'm sure you must have run into each other because I understand he was probably leading the paratroopers company that was, or actually the division that was there. And now coming to what you had just asked, there is a failure of governance. There is no doubt about that. And in there, the intelligence. Primarily, there's all kind of insurgencies, no matter where in the world. Whether you look at Korea, you look at Vietnam, you look at Malaysia, you look at Sri Lanka, anywhere, it is not, you can't work against it unless you have actually good intelligence. And for intelligence, you must have the local population working for you. If the local population is not with you, that's what happens that's what happened in Afghanistan, Vietnam, Korea, or wherever else you see. So this is a major issue, really, that to tackle, and that should be a lesson for all our people or all our countries living in the subcontinent. We all have our fault lines. We can all be exploited. And to borrow somebody's phrase, these fault lines can be used and are being used, I presume. So we have primarily, this is what I think has been happening. And that has been the cause, and that has been the reason for what has happened over the month of November and previously also.
Okay. Munir Menon, 1,051 killed this year till November in Pakistan, 562 from security forces. Why have things deteriorated so rapidly in Pakistan, in your appreciation, sir?
First of all, Gaurav, thank you so much for inviting me over. Firstly, I would like to condemn whatever has happened in Pakistan. The terrorist activity really has really made all of us very sad because it's not something usual. Coming to your point, yes,
okay, I seem to have lost your audio. We'll try and reestablish that link in just a moment. Are you on mute? Will you unmute yourself, sir?
I'm not on mute.
Go on.
Can you hear me?
Strength 5, go on.
Okay. Gaurav, yes, it is something alarming for Pakistan because whenever Pakistan tries to regain its economy and just start building up its economy and things started to get look better, something like this on such lines happens in Pakistan. Yes, I agree to what our General Saab has said that yes, there are the fault lines and these fault lines needs to be fixed. And these fault lines are in any country, especially in subcontinent, we see quite often that these countries and these fault lines are being exploited.
So,
and
you know, both of you are answering in generalities. I'm on specifics on what's happening in Pakistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Balochistan. You know, since this isn't a long academic debate, it's a news show, my request to both our guests would be if we stay on specifics here about Pakistan. But General Bhatia, things appear to be so bad that China now wants to put boots on ground in Pakistan. Is that, in your appreciation, sir, a major vote of no confidence in the Pakistani security forces?
Gaurav, firstly, let me say that's sad what has happened. Terrorism anywhere has to be condemned, and heart goes out to the people who have suffered the terrorism. But having said that, yes, for China, the CPC is important, and it is central to the BRA dream. And if you recollect, President Xi Jinping, within 24 hours of his becoming the president on the 13th of March 2013, he approved the Gwadar Agreement, which was finally signed on 16th of May 2013. Right. So CP is very important to them. And if the security situation is bad, which it is right now, and 1,000 odd dead, including security force personnel, Pakistan is worried, and Pakistan is likely to force its way to ensure that they take on the security of the Chinese assets and the Chinese interests out there. So I think China is going to be, coming into Pakistan, which is not good for either Pakistan or for South Asia or for India for that matter. And the sovereignty of Pakistan also is important. Pakistan cannot become a client state of China and should not become a client state of China.
Okay, Air Marshal Sheikh.
Let me go back a little, please. Gaurav, give me a minute.
Okay.
See, unfortunately, though, Pakistan, I think, asked for this trouble because if I recollect properly, General Hamid Gul was a former DG ISI. After the US withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, 15th August 2021, he made a statement. He said Pakistan defeated the two superpowers. They defeated Soviet Union with the help of the US,
yes,
and then they defeated US with the help of Taliban. What he did not say was that Pakistan would defeat itself with the help of Pakistan terrorism.
You know, that's truly heartbreaking to hear, but Air Marshal Sheikh, is that also your appreciation? Has the Pakistan army, is it time one for another Zarb-e-Azb 2.0, or is it time for Chinese boots on ground?
So I don't think there's a requirement or there's been any demand of this kind by the Chinese that they would like to place their troops in Pakistan. They have come over here for training and all. They have joint training, but I don't think there's been a demand at the moment of this kind. As regards security is concerned, whether Zarb-e-Azb 1 or 2 or 01 or 02, I think they will be able to handle, but it will cost both sides terribly. And in this, unfortunately, there will be many more lives lost. It will be one way, and probably some sort of thing will have to be done. Some political maneuvering along with the military. It can't be a military solution alone. It will have to be both, and both of them will have to make some sort of concessions. And what Jan Saab was saying is another point, which yet after the American withdrawal, it was actually learning before, and that is lesson for those who are in Quad 4 now, to learn that when you have somebody who you are helping or working with, when you have to end up giving people after Bin Laden over to them, and such people who are now presently forming the government in Afghanistan, it becomes very difficult to have very good relations.
Okay.
Like Maulana Zarif, he was unfortunately one who was there. So there have been such things, and it is for all of us in this region and all over the world to learn lessons out of this. And you must make sure.
No, but does Pakistan fail to learn those lessons, Air Marshal? And let me take this to Munir Memon. Munir, when you look at what happened in August 2021, American forces were withdrawing, the Taliban was taking over. You had then DG ISI at the Serena Hotel with a mug of coffee in his hand, virtually gloating, and Pakistan was talking about Hakiki Azadi or words to that effect, and what Imran Khan was saying. Imran Khan is currently in jail. Whatever happened to that Hakiki Azadi, that plan to rehabilitate TTP, has all of that boomeranged so disastrously for Pakistan?
Gaurav, firstly, I'm just listening all these plans from you because right now in Pakistan, there is no such plan. And what you see in Pakistan is what gets agreed that these terrorist activities are being a real concern for Pakistan. But if you notice the trends, all these activities are around the border areas. If you see the main areas of Pakistan, the city areas, if you talk about Sindh or Punjab, there hasn't been anything like that. In fact, if you also take into the notice that Ideas Defense Expo is happening in Pakistan, where more than 55 countries are participating. So if there was such a security concern, or if you see there is such a security failure in Pakistan, these 55 countries wouldn't have been in Pakistan. And this Idea Expo is happening right next to the National Stadium, Karachi, where hopefully ICC Champions Trophy event.
If you are happy, we are very happy. Yes. Munir, if Pakistan wants to, bury its head in sand like an ostrich, fair enough. It's not for us to tell you what you need to do. We're just very concerned neighbors, and that's exactly why I asked. Losing, if you permit me, 136 incidents in 2019, 193 incidents in 2020, 268 incidents in 2021, 365 in 2022, 527 in 2023, 653 so far in 2024. These are statistics in your newspapers which are appearing every day. Sir, if you are not alarmed by this terror, well, what can anyone say? But General Bhatia, this is very, very alarming for any country.
Gaurav, if you permit me, you quoted these stats. I haven't checked these stats, but I agree to you. I agree to you. But if you also look into these stats, that most of these deaths are of Pakistani soldiers. That means the Pakistani army is doing something. That means the Pakistani army is in the front line. It's not that we have just put our people into that mud and we just wait and watch. We are doing. Why don't you quote these stats that how many terrorist activities have been counted, how many terrorists have been killed? You
Sir,
should also mention.
I'm quoting all those. That entire data is on our television screen because truly, Air Marshal Sheikh. Before I bring in General Bhatia, when Taliban took over Kabul, that question that I was putting to Munir. Then DG ISI celebrating at Serena Hotel, Imran Khan talking about breaking shackles of slavery or words to that effect. Was Pakistan appreciating that situation? Completely wrong, sir. And the deaths have actually increased. The terror incidents have increased with Taliban in Afghanistan from 2021 268 to 365 in 2022 to 527 in 2023 to 653 so far in 2024, Air Marshal.
Sarwar.
Go on, sir. Okay, give me a moment as we try and reestablish that link with you, Air Marshal Sheikh. But General Bhatia, what do you make of this situation? Is Pakistan burying its head in sand like an ostrich, not appreciating the gravity of the situation? Or are they hoping that, perhaps like a pigeon, they'll close their eyes and the threat would go away?
I don't think the threat is going anywhere. You can ride a tiger. You supported the Taliban, you supported terrorism all over. It's a terrorism a state policy of the Pakistani army which runs the state. And today you just can't get off the tiger now. So that's the situation bad. Pakistan today, I suppose, if I may say so, is economically weak, militarily weak because of the terrorist situation. It is administratively weak. It is governance weak, politically weak. Right? If you look at all this thing today, it's weak. And to get over such high rates of attrition caused by terrorists, whom you yourself fed, yourself armed, yourself trained, yourself sponsored, I think it's going to be very, very difficult because there would be, you ask for trouble. And to get this done, especially now with so much of interest of the Chinese, which gets involved, and you want the Chinese economy to the Chinese to come up with the infrastructure, with the dams, with the power project, so I think it's going to be very, very difficult. So they'll have to make some compromises there, and the Pakistan military will have to take action. Terrorism cannot be, like I said, cannot be accepted in any form. But it's not right. We don't. We are paid by terrorist attacks in Pakistan. It's a neighbor, and now the Chinese. So I think it is, and we have also, let me also say that the ceasefire along the line of control gives Pakistan army the leeway to redeploy and focus on terrorism.
Absolutely. In fact, it's because of that ceasefire, they were able to withdraw a couple of divisions and put them on their Northwest Frontier province. And India's always respected that ceasefire at the LC. But Marshal Sheikh, if I have you back, was Pakistan's rehabilitate Taliban policy wrong post-2021? Has it boomeranged on Pakistan, sir?
I think it's not a new, it's a very old policy. It's been going on during the first occupation of Afghanistan by the Russian troops, Soviet at that time. But yes, unlike Iran, which were much more sensible, they kept them confined to limited areas. In Pakistan, it wasn't done. But going back to what I was mentioning earlier, I was looking forward to a discussion which was to actually focus on the subcontinent and what can be done about it here, and what lessons are there if you want Pakistan to share with you as our neighbors as such. You have to be careful like I mentioned at the beginning, there are fault lines everywhere. Anybody can, your friends and foe can all exploit it. So you got to be careful about that. And here we
Okay. No, I completely take that point.
Nearly half the world.
I completely take that point, sir, that there are fault lines that can be exploited by hostile forces. But, you know, in India's case, at least the country unites to combat it. At least that's what we've seen so far. And that is why perhaps we've been able to do a little better, that we wake up to the crisis and tackle it. Is Pakistan going to wake up? That remains the big question. For joining me, Air Marshal Sheikh, Munir Menon and Jal Bhatia, many thanks. I've run out of time on this part of the show, but this is a story we'll be tracking very closely.